Yo, what's going down, Green Screen Entertainment fans? Your homie Jay Green back right now with my thoughts and feelings on the Apple TV Plus movie, The Gorge. Now, this movie did come out back in 2025. I wanted to see it because I heard a little bit about it before it actually came out, but didn't have Apple TV Plus at the time. I was able to sit down and watch it with my wife a couple of nights ago, and I want to give y'all some of my thoughts and my feelings. So this movie stars Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, and it was directed by Scott Derrickson, who is famous for Doctor Strange, Black Phone 1 and 2, Sinister, and was written by Zach Dean, who gave us the great Tomorrow Wars and Fast X. Now, for all of y'all out there who have no idea what The Gorge is all about, this movie is about Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy manning, let's say, security posts, security towers, watch towers, if you will, on opposite sides of this giant gorge where there is something down in the gorge under the mist. We don't know what it is. We just know that at one point in time, military forces tried to eradicate whatever is in the gorge. They were unsuccessful with that, and now they are simply trying to quarantine whatever it is in the gorge. So what they do is they get people that really ain't got nothing to live for in the regular world, but have a particular set of skills, and they have them man these towers just in case something was to pop off. They can snipe them from up top. Sounds like a pretty cool premise, right? Halfway. This movie is like 3 different potential good stories rolled into one. On one end, you got Miles Teller's character, who's an ex-military type dude. This guy does a few specialty type jobs here and there. He's a wonderful sniper, but of course he's got the night terrors, the shivers, the shakes, the sweats. You know what I'm saying? So he's not really holding up in society in a normal sense. He's got some issues. A bit of a loner. Nobody's really gonna miss him if he's gone for about a year or so to man this tower. Now, on the other hand, we got Anya Taylor-Joy. The movie opens up showcasing her sniping someone from hella far away. Then she's talking to her dad. Seems like maybe that guy has something to do with her mom's death. Her dad is basically on his deathbed. He's got some cancer situations going on, and that's the last that we see of her. And the next thing you know, we cut to each of them manning their towers. Now, with Miles Teller, we get a nice introduction from the previous person that was manning the tower, explaining to him all that's going on, what his supplies look like, how to look out for this, for that, where toolkits are, ammunition, things of this nature. We don't get any introduction to Anya Taylor-Joy manning her tower. Now, it has been said by the commander, played by Sigourney Weaver, at the top of the film, that Miles Teller and the other person manning the tower are not to communicate whatsoever, and they cannot go into the gorge because anybody that's gone down there does not survive.
I said, look, nobody comes down here. Postmen figured it out, policemen figured it out.
But of course, if you put 2 good-looking people manning some towers right across from each other for about a year with no contact to any other humans whatsoever, what the fuck you think about to happen? And that's where this movie goes from some suspense, mystery, potential action, monster type swag into some type of romance novel. And what I mean by romance novel, I'm talking about straight up dude sees her over there with them little electronic binoculars. She sees him with her little electronic binoculars. They see that one another is cute. They both looking presentable, dressed nice, makeup's done as if they were expecting company. Him with a scotch, her with a little bottle of wine. They got the candles going, some music light in the background, and they start flirting with each other with notes on whiteboards and shit from way far away. And then eventually they start showcasing how good of shots they are with their sniper rifles. Now, eventually, when shit really jumps off and they end up in the gorge, you knew that was gonna happen. I'm not spoiling anything for you. When eventually they get down into the gorge, we see some Twilight Zone Outer Limit type shit, some real X-Files type shit. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool, right? Basically, think of like a Chernobyl type situation where there's like some type of chemical meltdown and it starts blending people with the atmosphere of whatever's down there. Animals, plants, rocks, like you name it. That's kind of a cool concept. So what I mean at the top of this review, when I say it's like 3 different stories in one, you got the military type action when it jumps off. It's pretty dope. It's pretty cool. It's shot well. Then on the other hand, you got the romance novel shit. Unbelievable as fuck. Silly, cheesy, but I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of grinning. It was kind of cute. But then when they get down into the gorge and you got the monsters and the mystery of, okay, what is all this? How are these people here blended with trees and plants and horses and whatever? And then you find out that the government was doing some ish and they was trying to cover it up so they conceal the location of all of this stuff jumping off and all of the people that have manned these towers before and all of the soldiers that were once sucked into this gorge situation are still down there thriving in a way, but ready to kill you at any moment. That's kind of cool too. So somehow Scott Derrickson and the writing team blended these three different stories together, and I ain't gonna lie, it didn't work, but then it did work at the same time.
Which one is it?
I know, it makes no sense.
Answer the question.
Let me explain. So when I went in to go watch this movie, right, I hadn't really seen the trailers. I just heard about it. I was like, okay, I like Miles Teller, I like Anya Taylor-Joy, let's go. They're on a tower, watching the gorge, something's down there, mystery, I'm down with that. So as the movie opens up and it seems like it's going to be taking itself a little bit more serious and there's probably going to be some dope action based on the skill set of these individuals, I'm like, I'm here for that. So every time the movie gave me that, I'm on board. It was pretty fly seeing what they were doing when it came to the battle sequences. But then it ganders back and now we're in that romance swag and I'm like rolling my eyes like, oh my God, the convenience of the way that they're talking to each other, the shit that they're saying, the way that he eventually zip lines across this motherfucking gorge to go see her and get that poo nanny. Like, it's just unbelievable how all this is jumping off, right? But again, I'm watching this movie with my wife and I feel like that this movie was designed for couples watching a movie at home streaming because it's got a little something for the fellas, the action, the monsters, the shoot 'em up. But then for the girls, you got that, oh, he really likes her. Oh, he's a handsome guy. Look at him ziplining across that gorge to go get her gorge. You feel me? Then we got a situation where they both fall into the gorge and now they gotta survive. So the guy's saving the girl saving the guy. Your girl's sitting there talking about, I wonder if they're gonna make it out of here alive and be together in the end. And you know how it goes. And so for me, while I was kind of smirking and rolling my eyes during the love stuff because it was so outlandish, ridiculous, and on the nose and cheesy, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little bit on the edge of my seat during the action portions. So it was pulling me in and pulling me out throughout the entire film. And then when we finally got into the gorge and saw what it was all about, the premise and the idea of that chemical catastrophe was kind of fly. So I was like, I was on board enough throughout the movie that I didn't really mind it that much. But it is dumb as hell. So I know I basically spoiled this movie for you, but if you do decide to watch this movie with that special little someone, I think that both of y'all have a good time for one, some cool action, some cool design, some nice old monster swag. If your girl wants to see a little bit of love and she's not really into the shoot 'em up, she's gonna get a little bit of that. So she's gonna be happy. Then, like I said, you get some X-Files, Outer Limits, Twilight Zone type swag jumping off down in the gorge. And it wraps itself up with a nice little cute bow all at the end. But at the end of the day, you're really just putting this movie on to pass the time before y'all start making out and do what you do. Now I gotta say this before I get out of here. This is a little bit of a spoiler, but whatever, right? As I said before, they both gonna end up in the gorge and they gotta end up fighting the gorge monsters. Now, it's not the fact that they both end up in there. It's how they end up in there and then get the fuck out of there. So Miles Teller is trying to be all sweet, right? And he tells her, yo, I'm gonna have dinner with you for your birthday. Because again, like I said, they're sharing these cute little notes and stuff. So she says, it's my birthday. Wham. I want someone to hang out with. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go over there. He fashions a zip line out of a rocket, takes out like the detonation and all the, parts that will go kablooey, right? He shoots it over there. She figures out, oh snap, he must want me to tie this around to a tree. Convenient. So she ties it around to a tree. He zip lines over there. Now, I asked my wife, I'm like, yo, how big is a gorge? Like, based on them using their electronic binoculars, I'm assuming this shit is hella far because they're using the electronic binoculars and they can only see so far, which is a pretty good, amount that they can see. But then they go flick it into the next mode and now you can see real close. So I got to imagine this is like maybe like a mile across, something like this. So if you're not supposed to go down in the gorge or even go across the gorge to the other tower, how in the hell does he have some Batman level tensile cable that can shoot across, hold his body weight and all his gear and whatever else while he's going across the gorge to see this chick? I don't know. Then they're supposed to check in with their command post every 30 days. And he happens to take this zipline trip the day before he's going to check in with his command post. Why not just wait, check in, and then now you have 30 days to play around and do whatever the fuck you want to do? Even though there's some serious ass ish jumping off in the gorge, so you better be doing your fucking job because shit can really go left. So I'm scratching my head at this dude doing all that when up top in the movie, they make him seem ultra serious, like he ain't gonna leave his post for nothing because he's that type of military dude. So interesting. Now, fast forward, they finally are in the gorge, they do all the fighting, blah, 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 blah. They hotwire this Jeep that has one of those like cable retractor type situations. They go to the cliff where they came down from, and apparently they broke their ascender, the situation that was like, I guess, electronic that would pull them up. So you're thinking, I'm gonna stay in the gorge and fight these monsters when us two military people who are very much so in shape couldn't just climb up the rope? Yeah, you take a break from time to time, but climb up that bitch. Why go and risk death with all these mutated human beings when you could just climb up that rope? That portion made no sense. But anyways, they get there with this Jeep, they connect the wire to the Jeep, and now this wire that at one point in time we thought it was just meant to hold Miles Teller's body weight when he's doing certain repairs and construction around his portion of the tower. Now it's pulling up a fucking Jeep Wrangler. What the hell? Then as they're going up the freaking face of this cliff, right? Both Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller are on the Jeep bouncing around, fighting off the Gorge people. And I'm like, how much weight can this fucking tensile wire hold? This is ridiculous at this point in time. One of them should have fallen off for sure. But whatever, they make it up to the top, and then eventually they're gonna live happily ever after.
Man, this is some bullshit!
So again, this movie is ridiculous on a whole bunch of levels, but I'm not gonna lie, if it didn't keep me engaged throughout, there was stuff for me to laugh at unintentionally, and there was stuff for me to be gripping, my seat like, I hope they're gonna make it through this. So it is what it is. And even though I'm telling y'all that this movie is wacky and crazy and not really that good, but at the same time, I was smirking, smiling. I wasn't mad at the love aspects of it. I was definitely enjoying the action. It just felt like it was in and out and you needed to pick a lane. This movie still's got some pretty good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, some pretty good scores. So people definitely enjoy it. Now, all that being said, Miles Teller is a phenomenal actor, as is Anya Taylor-Joy. Every person that you see in this film is a great actor, and Scott Derrickson is an amazing director. So the talent behind this cinematic adventure is top notch, more than this story deserves. If you check it out, comment below, let me know what you thought of it. What was the most insane portion of this film? If you have seen it, what made you roll your eyes like, no fucking way, I'm about to turn this shit off? And let me know if there was a moment where, like me, you paused it, turned to your person and was like, wait, what the fuck are we watching? Yeah, homie, Jay Green, I'm out.